As you know, we filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump and his family. We secured $454 million judgment against him, which is on appeal. The case is on appeal. I have no idea when that case will be decided. This investigation into me is nothing more than retribution. It's baseless. It has to do with the fact that on a power of attorney, I mistakenly indicated that I was a state.
Just nasty and look, big nasty and slouchy, sloppy hamburger heifer. Oh man, they ought to just walk in there and put her hands behind her back. Why is this big heifer still out free roaming and talking and they need to go make an example out this big heifer. We got all we need. We told you, the big loud, the guilty one, it always comes out. Y'all should have been made an example out of this lady long time ago, like I said.
Virginia, but prior to that, I have indicated to the mortgage broker that, in fact, in bold cap letters, that I am not a resident of Virginia and never will be. And in the mortgage application, I indicated that I would not live in Virginia and I was not a resident. They just took the power of attorney and they're using that as a basis for enforcement. For their investigation, when in reality, power of attorney was never used to determine my eligibility for a mortgage for my niece for a home in the state of Virginia. My niece who has children, and because I am a good aunt, I wanted her to have.
White-collar financial fraud is not a victimless crime. When the powerful break the law and take more than their fair share, there are fewer resources available for working people, small businesses, and families. And everyday Americans cannot lie to a bank about how much money they have in order to get a mortgage to buy a home. And if they did, our government would throw the book at them.
A few moments later.
You recommended that the DOJ investigate New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Well, I know that we are mortgage experts, and we only refer things that we think are mortgage fraud, and we stand 100% behind the letter. I'll let the letter speak for itself.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Game over for Letitia James. This is probably the most fraud that most bankers commit. It's called occupancy fraud. So what a lender will do, they'll try to get the customer a better rate by saying that the customer is going to live in the house that they're buying, but really it's going to be an investment property. That's mortgage fraud. That's a big no-no. What she did is she convinced her mortgage broker that she was a resident of Virginia when she was nowhere near there. She went and she got a mortgage so that she can benefit from a rate. So for example, right now conventional rates on primary residences are 6.5%. So she applies for a loan. She gets quoted a rate of 6.5%. She says she's going to live there, and it's all kosher. It goes to close. There's really not a lot of underwriting checks to say, okay, is she really going to live there or not? Because we can't really accuse a customer of fraud. But when she actually made it an investment property because she's not really going to live there, or a second home, there's something called a line level price adjustment, LLPA. And so what happens is, because there's more risk when doing a loan on an investment property, right? Like imagine yourself lending money to an individual. You know that they're going to pay the house that they're living in. If they have an investment property and that renter isn't paying them, then guess what? You're probably not going to get paid on that investment property. So the banks hedge against this by giving you a higher rate, usually higher closing costs. And so to avoid that, she allegedly lied on her application. And so she got the lower rate, the 6.5%, and I'm just using a vague number, rather than taking the 7.5%, because investment properties are typically 1 to 1.5% higher. And like, it's actually kind of dumb on her part, because let's just say the house was worth $1 million. Well, that delta is probably about $800 a month in interest, maybe $10,000 a year in extra.
Come on, DOJ, this could be civil. Let's bankrupt this big heifer. and throw in jail. Let's bankrupt her and put in handcuffs.
She would have had to pay, but it's tax deductible on an investment property. She could have cost segregated the property and made up that difference really easily. But she got greedy. She had a mortgage banker that was probably desperate for business, saw her name, and was willing to do anything to get her business. And now she's in trouble. And Bill Pulte, the new head of FHFA, he ain't taking this lightly. That was sent over to the DOJ, and now they're pursuing actions against her. She tried to go after Trump for mortgage fraud, and now she's in a heap of shit. So Letitia James, you're in trouble. And let this be a lesson to her and mortgage bankers.
Bill now has language that would actually put taxpayers on the hook for officials dealing with Trump administration-led investigations. So if the DOJ takes up Tish's criminal referral and this bill passes, she could end up tapping into a $10 million fund to cover any reasonable attorney's fees and expenses incurred. Here to unpack that is New York State Senator Rob Ortt. Senator, thank you for joining us. How will this go over with the hardworking men and women of New York who've already seen enough of her games for a while?
Yeah, I mean, you're already in the highest tax state. There's any number. We're going to pass a budget, Laura, that's going to be about $255 billion here in New York in the next couple of days, passed, by Democrats in both the Senate Assembly, by Governor Hochul. And this is maybe one of the more egregious. They're going to take $10 million of public money, tax dollars, for private legal defense. Don't forget, this is regardless of whether it's even related to your job. So even if somebody else had a DUI, they could tap into this fund under this law. But this was drawn up expressly for one official, Tish James, to defend, so she can use the tax dollars for her legal defense against the federal government.
Legal slush fund. Yeah, legal slush fund because allegedly she wanted certain benefits that she got by fraudulently stating things.
They say this is not AI edited. Yeah. What's going on, family? Hope everybody is blessed, well, and healthy. You just can't make it up with these people, man. The loudest ones, the guiltiest ones, man. These Democrats, these folks that came after our president, come to find out they just the most filthy and most dirtiest criminal crook scums. And you got doggone right, we putting it out in the light. We exposing it. It's all gonna come out, man. But we've been warned about these individuals time and time after again. Conspiracy theories, conspiracy facts, People claiming somebody done did dirt, but don't understand that they dirty as hell. That they stink. People don't realize that theirs stinks. Look in the mirror first, ma'am. A disgrace, man. An absolute disgrace.
Antar says why DOJ should pursue civil enforcement against Letitia James. So you have FIERA advantages. You have a lower burden of proof, which is a preponderance of the evidence versus beyond a reasonable doubt. So that means basically you have to get over 50% convincing with civil, where with criminal, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. You could say that's, let's say 99%, right? Faster timeline, immediate discovery powers that can expose everything, and up to $1.1 million penalty per violation. Now, Antar says that the evidence is that James's own smoking gun email proves intent. She had previously said she does not intend to occupy a property in Virginia, right? She wrote that in an email, but then subsequent to that, she signed a power of attorney saying that she will occupy this property in Virginia. And of course, not only does she have that potential owner occupancy fraud situation, but she also has been claiming, according to Antar, for over 20 years that a New York property was a 4-unit when in fact it was a 5-unit. This would give both mortgage and insurance benefits, potentially saving hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars of mortgage interest over time. And then, of course, getting better rates on property insurance. Now, Antar says this is urgent. With the 2026 election approaching and James running for re-election, the voters deserve answers. Civil discovery can secure evidence while criminal prosecutions build their case. And of course, this is something that we're pointing out with this video. It's ironic, y'all. I'm about to play this clip. Look at how high is the horse that Letitia James is sitting on while she's talking about Donald Trump at the same time, allegedly doing the same thing, y'all. It's wild. The irony, James prosecuted Trump for property misrepresentations, declaring no one is above the law. Now she faces identical scrutiny. With documentary evidence, few fraud cases can match. DOJ has authority precedent and a written confession delivered by defendant's own attorney. The civil case can practically write itself. Now, y'all, I will place a link to White Collar Fraud where you can read more about this, okay? So what we're gonna do now, y'all, we're gonna shoot into this video of Letitia James on her high horse. Just soak it all in, y'all. Just as you watch this video, just remember that as you watch her talking, she at the same time, y'all, everything that we know about her has already happened. She's already signed this power of attorney saying she would live in Virginia. She's already allegedly been claiming that a 5-unit building was a 4-unit building for 20 years or more and getting favorable interest rates and insurance rates, most likely. She's already signed
Lock this heifer up. Lock this heifer up. And I think pursue civil enforcement. Yeah, bankrupt her. Bankrupt this big heifer. Bankrupt her.
Document saying that her father was her husband. Okay. So what I want y'all to do, I want you to leave a comment down below. But before you do, please stop, hit the share, all of your favorite down below. Here's
and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal. This long-running fraud was intentional, egregious, illegal, and he did all of this with the help of the other defendants, his 2 adult sons and senior executives at the Trump Organization. And so, after 11 weeks of trial, we showed the staggering extent of his fraud and exactly how Donald Trump and the other defendants deceived banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions for their own personal gain.
Oh, brother.
We proved just how much Donald Trump, his family, and his company unjustly benefited from his fraud. Today, the court, once again, ruled in our favor and in favor of every hard-working American who plays by the rules. Donald Trump and the other defendants were ordered to pay $463.9 million. That represents $363.9 million in disgorgement, plus $100 million in interest, which will continue to increase every single day until it is paid. Donald Trump, the former chief financial officer of the Trump Organization, Alan Weisselberg, and the former controller of the Trump Organization, Jeffrey McConney, are each banned from serving as an officer or director of any New York company for 3 years. Mr. Weisselberg and Mr. McConney are also banned for life from serving in a financial management role in any New York company. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump are banned from serving as an officer or director of any New York company for 2 years. And Donald Trump and his companies are banned from applying for loans from any New York bank or financial institution for 3 years. A new independent director of compliance will be created at the Trump Organization to ensure the company establishes internal protocols and meets financial reporting obligations. And the current independent external monitor will continue to oversee the company's financial dealings and ensure this fraud cannot continue. I want to be clear. White-collar financial fraud is not a victimless crime.
Lock this
when the powerful
heifer up.
break the law and
Bankrupt this big heifer. Lock this big heifer up. I'm pissed off. I'm sick of watching the same stuff. I'm sick of all this crap. I'm sick of this lady speaking. I'm tired of hearing her voice. You know. But these be the ones committing the actual crimes. These ones right here. The ones claiming somebody else did a crime. The ones claiming somebody else did something. These be the ones right here. The ones up here on these podiums screaming and hollering. Trump, 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 Trump. Bad man, bad man. We must do everything we can to stop Trump. It's going to be 2032 and they still going to be talking about Trump. Trump, 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 Trump. Look in the mirror and then ran New York into the ground. Y'all done ran New York into the ground. With these corrupt officials, these filthy politicians. Just all corrupt down there. The system's a complete joke. I hope they go in and I'm telling you, man, Silver Enforcement. I hope they bankrupt this big fella. I do. This big hamburger heifer. I hope they bankrupt her. Make an example out of her. What y'all think? Let me know in the comments section, man. But hope y'all are having a great day. Happy Friday, family. We made it to Friday, didn't we? We made it to Friday. Amen. We made it to Friday, man. We just trying to get to the weekend, man. We all been working hard, trying to get by, man. You know. But I want them to make an example out of this big heifer right here. I really do. And many others, man. I'm waiting for people to just be held accountable. You know, they got all the evidence they need. We see the paperwork. We see the app. We see all the stuff that was filled out. You know, she already confessed to this, and that. Let's make an example. Let's shake it. Let's shake her down. Let's get some of that her. I know her, Big Fanny, all of them. Get that money out that mattress in them bras. They got in they bras. They got the secret department in them bras with extra cash, and then they got in that mattress. They got money stashed away in these mattresses. All kind of money stashed away. Send them Patriots through there and get all that crap. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I gotta calm down. They say, Rick, sir, calm down. It's Friday, sir. Friday. I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace and love, fam.